August 5th, Grand Slam, Mexico. Celebrate all kinds of craziness, all kinds of weirdness. Let's run it. We started the night really strong because we have stairs, and they were strong stairs. But the first match of the night, we got to see Copen Cage and the Young Bucks take on 4 members of the Death Riders. We had Yuta, Garcia, Pac, and Mox. And holy crap, everybody was up and down and left and right and jumping and spinning and doing all kinds of crazy shenanigans. At one point, Cage hit Mox in the nethers. And then a couple of minutes later, Marina Shafir tried to run some interference. And she got pulled off the ring apron by Cage. And then he kicked her in the nethers. And that was just goofy, silly fun. In the end, the Death Riders got the victory. No hard feelings there. I think that worked out perfectly fine. I think everything in the match was very fun to watch, top to bottom. So hopefully the Death Riders can start to pick up a little more momentum moving into the upcoming pay-per-view and also beyond. I'd really like to see them get a little bit more gold in their stable, but Don Callis is trying to hoard it all right now, so we'll just have to keep our eyes peeled. We followed that up immediately with an Omega versus Ospreay package, everything building up to the upcoming pay-per-view for the title. I think it's going to be awesome. I am still a firm believer that they're going to give Ospreay the title when they get to London, but they could pull something off, a little swerve, if you will, at the last second and change their minds. But hoping Ospreay wins. Wouldn't be mad if Kenny won. It's 2 good guys just beating the hell out of each other for the grandest prize of them all. After a commercial break, we came back and got a 3-way match for the number 1 slot of the upcoming Casino Gauntlet match. We got to see Ciampa, Commander, and Andrade all go one-on-one against each other. Andrade is still being a very silly boy, but he seems to be super popular down there in Mexico, which doesn't surprise anybody. Commander also got a really big pop when he came out, and everybody booed Ciampa, which is fine because he is just being the silly American heel. He came out with a flag draped over him. He had like sleeves made, so it was like flat, like big flag down, 2 small flags like over his biceps, and he was just kind of like, brah, like American man. It was kind of silly, but it worked, and it got even more silly after Andrade took his pants off, as he does, and then Ciampa grabbed his pants a minute later, and he wrestled the pants like he wrestled the stuffed animal a week ago. I don't know what is going on with that, but I love it. I think it fits his character very well. At the end of the day, though, Andrade did get the victory after a furious little ending segments where everybody was hitting everybody. And so Andrade is number 1 in the Casino Gauntlet match. After Andrade won, he did a little speech, said, I'm coming after it. I'm going to win it. It's going to be awesome. And if you think that I can't, how you know? And then MJF came slithering out, attacked him from behind, stole his Dynamite Diamond ring back, hit him with the Dynamite Diamond ring, broke him open, blood. At one point, he and Andrade were kind of having a tussle on, they had the stairs and then the entry ramp, and the entry ramp was level with the ring. He threw Andrade off the entry ramp, like into like essentially the pit around the ring, and Andrade's foot hit Commander in the side of the head because Commander was cowering like in a corner at the barricades. I don't think that was meant to happen, but I laughed accidentally just because it was such an awkward moment. And then MJF went on a big old tirade about how he's the real champ and he got screwed. He's going to take the number 2 slot next week in the Casino Gauntlet qualifier match, and he's going to go on to win the entire thing, and he's going to be the rightful champion once again, which I kind of believe him. So congratulations to Andrade. We'll have to see what happens next week with MJF. Good stuff so far. The next package that we received was Willow versus Monet, which is coming up at the pay-per-view for the title. It's nothing any of us haven't really seen before, so nothing too crazy. And then we followed that up immediately with Monet and Megacross versus Willow and the Brawling Birds. That was an interesting match. I wasn't 100% sure which direction it would go. The Birds have been talking about coming after the women's tag team titles for a little while now. Mega Cross has been saying they've got no shot. Willow and Monet obviously have a huge backstory between the two of them. I was kind of surprised that the Birds and Willow got the victory after Willow hit Monet with a backslide and got the 1-2-3. It kind of made sense as far as like grab the weakest target physically and make sure that they're the ones that get pinned. So I can't be too upset at the outcome. But as soon as the victory came through, Tony Khan allegedly wrote into the pay-per-view that now the Birds and Mega Cross are going to have a match for the tag team titles. I'm just going to assume that Mega Cross is going to hang on to the titles for a while longer, although the Birds are going to put up a hell of a fight for them. We're 25 days away from the pay-per-view. It's going to be crazy. It's going to be weird, but it's going to be exciting. Then we had the most international match for the international title that I think we could have ever had. We had Mike Bailey, the Canadian, going up against Kyle Fletcher, the Australian, in Arena Mexico for the international title. And it was weird, but in a fun way. Fletcher was definitely showing off a lot of his strength. Bailey was definitely showing off a lot of his speed. The two men just would not go down no matter what the other one did to them. Plenty of high spots, plenty of strength spots. There was a point where they went up the ramp a little bit and fought close to the stairs, but didn't actually include the stairs. It was just kind of all over the place. In the end, Fletcher did get the victory, so he held on to the international title, which I'm all for. But Bailey put up a hell of a fight. We followed that one up with kind of a strange match, in my opinion. We got 3 more members of the Don Callis family in Okada, Kevin Knight, and Hechicero. And they went up against Darby Allin, Chris Jericho, and Mystico. I was not surprised to see Mystico because they were down in Arena Mexico. It made complete sense. He did come out with some like angel wings though, which was a little strange, but I don't get to watch CMLL, so I'm not sure if that's a totally normal gimmick for him down there. But just the team of Mystico, Jericho, and Darby Allin felt a little thrown together, whereas the Don Callis guys all worked very well together. They didn't have any issues. Everything flowed super well for them. And at the end of the day, somehow Jericho and Darby and Mystico got the victory. I really think they should have given that one to the Don Callis family, although Mystico is like the big man on campus when it comes to CMLL and like down in Arena Mexico and all that. So like it makes sense. I still would have given it to the Don Callis family, but who am I? Then we hit commercial, came back from commercial, and we got a little review on what's happening in the TBS title spotlight. They showed some video packages from the last few weeks of everything that's going on with that and how Maya World picked up the victory and got the title. And then they had a match between Statlander and Persephone, and that was just 2 women slapping the hell out of each other and throwing each other around and being the big woman on campus for about 10 minutes, 12 minutes maybe. Thunder Rosa was hanging out ringside and not like on our side of the barricade. Like she was in the audience, but she was very obviously like in a spot where she wasn't actually sitting. She was kind of hanging out in the corner by the guardrail. And Persephone went over and at one point yanked her over the guardrail, hit her with the title that she just won the other day. And then Statlander went to do a jump from the apron to the floor to take out Persephone, ended up also taking out the ref, at which point Persephone got up and was like trying to fight back. Stat and her got back into the ring. Sheeta ended up popping up and she walloped Statlander with one of the titles, and it was just a whole hullabaloo for a moment until Persephone hit a finisher move and pinned Stat and then was screaming for the ref, and he slid back in the ring. Count of 1, 2, 3. Persephone got the victory. Her and Sheeta disappeared into the back, and that's just how that ended. Then we got another trios match, which was awesome because this one was actually for the trios titles. So we had the Demand versus Brodito and Hangman Page, and it was up and down and left and right, and they had Camelito with them, which that was fun to see because he just kind of hung out next to the ring on the apron a little bit, just like not in the way, but definitely like visible to everybody. So that was fun. I'm going to give this one match of the night just because it was so ridiculous. And at one point, Toa Leona had Bandito, Brody King, and Hangman Page all on his shoulders at the same time and did a Samoan drop after holding them up for like 10 seconds in the middle of the ring. That was wild. The only problem I have with this entire match is that Hangman and Brodito won the trios title, and the Demand only got him like a week ago. They should have hung on to him for a little bit longer, but again, who am I? My opinion doesn't matter. I'm just some weirdo in a mask on YouTube. So, match of the night. So much action all over the place. It was a lot of fun to watch, and I thoroughly enjoyed every second of it, even though my boys ended up losing in the end. Then we came to the main event. Will Ospreay and Mark Davis in a Mexico City street fight just to beat the tar out of each other, and it was also very good. There was a lot more blood than I figured they would show on television, especially because at one point Mark Davis brought out a fork with gaff tape on the handle so they could hold it, and he was stabbing Will Ospreay in the forehead, and then Ospreay ended up getting it a minute later, and he was stabbing Mark Davis in the forehead with it. There were chairs, there was a stop sign, there was a piece of like drywall that appeared at the top of the stairs, and they fought up the stairs, and then Mark Davis hit Ospreay in the head with it, and then Ospreay went tumbling down the stairs. I love the stairs. I'm sorry. I love that stairs are involved whenever they go to Arena Mexico. It's so much fun. So both men just beat the crap out of each other. Neither one of them wanted to say uncle. It was just a bloody, awful power punch mess. And Ospreay ended up with the victory in the end, and they didn't have fireworks go off at the end. They had like steam, or like, you know, when they get the fire extinguisher and it's just a bunch of like random white smoke. They had those firing from the ring posts at the very end of it all. So overall, I think the show was good. I think there were a couple lull spots in the middle where the action got kind of weird for a second, coming into and going out of commercial breaks. But overall, I was very satisfied with this, and I think they're really setting up a strong pay-per-view at the end of the month. So hopefully everybody can get involved and we can all watch it together, and I'll make a crazy 25-minute long video about it afterwards and stay up until 1 a.m. because I'm a psychopath and I love doing this stuff. But until this weekend, you guys take care of yourselves. Drink plenty of water because it's really getting hot out there. And I will see you next time. Peace.